Lately, I've been thinking a lot about how dependent we are on systems that are completely outside our control. Fuel prices go up, and before long, food prices follow. And it made me realize something surprising. Last summer, this tiny backyard produced far more food than I ever expected, enough that it actually changed the way I think about growing food at home. But it also made me start thinking about something bigger. What would it actually look like to make a home just a little bit more self-sufficient? I'm not talking about going completely off-grid or producing everything we eat, but I do think there's something powerful about becoming just a little less dependent on things that can change overnight. And for me, it starts right here in the garden. A small garden might not seem like much, but over the course of a season, it can produce an incredible amount of food. Tomatoes, pumpkins, herbs, cucumbers, all of these little harvests start to add up. And there's actually one crop in this garden that produces more food than almost anything else. I'll show you that in one moment. When I finally added everything up from last summer, this small garden produced over 40 kilograms of food from a space that really isn't that big at all. Look at this bad boy. And that's when I realized just how powerful even a small backyard garden can be. And the crop that probably surprised me the most was this one. Plants like this just keep producing for months and produce kilos of food that can be stored for months at a time. This year I am making sure that I am continuously starting seeds to have a constant supply of seedlings to go out into the garden. If you are just beginning your gardening journey, then I would recommend buying seedlings and just start with 3 to 4 things that you eat regularly, like lettuce, cherry tomatoes, herbs. You can even plant the bottoms of spring onions that you bought from the supermarket, put them into the soil like I did here, and they will continue to grow for months afterwards. I just cut a piece off as I need it. Lettuce is one of those things I'll probably never buy again. It grows so quickly and you can harvest it over and over. You just scatter some seeds in the garden or in a pot and wait to see the magic happen. Herbs are one of those expensive things that you usually only use once when you're cooking, and they sit in the back of the fridge and wilt and turn brown until you throw them out. If you have a few pots of different herbs lying around, you can pick them whenever you need them and never have to worry about not having them on hand or wasting your money on them ever again. And every home gardener knows that tomatoes taste way better when homegrown. They are sweeter and have much more flavour. They actually taste like a tomato should. Cherry tomatoes are often pricey for those little tubs, but they are so easy to grow and you get so much from one plant. One plant can produce kilos of tomatoes. They're a great return on space, and you can grow them in pots if you don't have a backyard or room in your garden beds. These 3 categories of crops are not only easy to grow as a beginner, but also save you the most money over time. I've already got some potatoes in, even though I don't usually plant them until June, but this will give us an early crop in about another 2 months' time that we can eat fresh or store for later use. These were just the tiny leftover potatoes from last year's harvest that I thought I would just throw into pots and see how they go. So far, they are looking good. I've got all my grow bags loaded up with tomato plants that are all starting to fruit now, and being in subtropical Queensland, we can grow tomatoes all year round. We are coming into strawberry season here too, so I have been propagating these red Lanjoy strawberries that I got from a lady at the Gold Coast. She gave me 4 of her runners a few months ago, and each time I see a runner, I get a pot and stick in the dirt. I think I'm up to 12 plants now, so I will be planting these out this weekend. I already started with some hanging pots, but this is a cheap or free way to get loads of plants, and in a few short months, loads of strawberries. The garden is just one part of this idea. Another layer for us has been energy. Fuel prices have always been unpredictable, which is one of the reasons we decided to move to an electric car last year, which I am so thankful for now that we did. So we worked out to charge my car, a full charge costs about $12 of energy, and that gives me about 420 kilometers, which I can drive around on a full charge for about a week to a week and a half. Thankfully, our home already had a solar system installed, be it a small one. We are going to look into getting a home battery system set up soon to store more power so that we can be even more self-reliant. But for now, my car can actually work as a huge battery too if we need to use it in that way for blackouts, etc., with a simple vehicle to load cable. We get so many days of sun in this country, and this is a great way to utilise it. We also changed over to an electric mower and whippersnipper about 6 months ago, and it's been great. Kevin can mow the entire yard without having to recharge the batteries, and I love that there's no smell of petrol fumes going all over my veggie garden. And we found both of these pretty cheap on Marketplace, and we sold our old petrol mower and whippersnipper on Marketplace too. There's actually one more piece of this puzzle that I'm really interested in adding very soon, and it could make a huge difference for the garden. A rainwater tank. In a climate like ours, having stored water could completely change how resilient the garden is during dry periods. And why wouldn't you want to harvest free water from the sky? Plus, you're not getting the nasty chemicals going into your garden that is in our water supply these days. Having a compost system is such a self-reliant way to add nutrients to your soil and top up your garden beds. This year I want to add another compost bin into the mix. I already have 2 tumbler bins, but I found that we're actually producing more scraps than they can keep up with, especially this time of year when I'm pulling out all the summer crops to plant autumn. So adding a 3rd bin just means I can keep that cycle going a bit more consistently instead of having to wait for one to finish before starting the next. It also means more compost for the garden, which is something I'm always trying to build up, because the more you can feed your soil, the better everything grows, and it saves having to bring anything in from the outside. Some councils offer a rebate for compost bins. If you live in the Brisbane City Council region, they are offering a $100 rebate on any compost bin you buy or have bought from the 1st of January 2024, whether that's a tumbler like mine, a worm bin, or a bokashi system. And it's little things like this that make living a bit more sustainably feel much more achievable. One day I'd love to have a couple of chickens if I can ever convince Kevin, because at the moment it's a firm no. But having fresh eggs at home and being able to add chicken manure into the compost would just take the garden to the next level. I think all of these little changes, whether it's growing more of our own food, adding another compost bin, collecting rainwater, or even looking at adding a battery to our solar system, they don't feel huge on their own, but when you start putting them all together, they really begin to change the way you live. Things feel a bit simpler, a bit more intentional, and a little less dependent on everything outside of your home. And I think that's what I really enjoy most about all of this. Just taking small steps towards something that feels a bit more self-sufficient, a bit more grounded, and a bit more like we are in control of our own lives. And maybe one day a couple of chickens as well, if I can convince Kevin. I'd love to know what you're growing or working towards at the moment, so let me know in the comments below.